How to become a good moderator. First of all, say yes. I remember the first time I moderated a panel. It was for the Independent Hotel Show in London. My manager at the time couldn't do it, so I was nominated to moderate this panel. And I said yes, having absolutely no idea how I'm supposed to do this. But I always knew I was good at asking questions, and I was always curious. This has been a theme in my entire life. So I went with it. I would not recommend that you just wing it in the future, but I was very lucky that I had a very proactive panelist. He invited us, he got us together. We met at his hotel for coffee and we got to know each other. And we talked about the theme of the panel discussion. And that is what really helped me to understand what my panelists are really experts in and how I can craft the questions and direct it towards them on the day. I was super nervous, but that initial meeting really helped me calm me down, and it taught me that I can do this. Absolutely. And I've done so many panels since moderating at my own events, at other conferences, through my corporate career, and also what I'm doing today as the founder of Inspiring Women in Hospitality. So, what has all these years of moderating taught me? First thing I would say is be curious, go with an open mind, listen, get to know your panelists, because they are really going to help you decide where you're going to take this conversation, how you're going to shape the conversation. And then based on that, you then craft the questions. Now, depending on the organizer, sometimes you're going to get very limited information. So that's why getting to know your panelists is going to be important. They just give you the topic and then they give you the panels. Sometimes they don't even give you the panels and you have to figure that out yourself, which, to be honest, I like because then I get to choose who is on my panel based on my network and my knowledge and my expertise that I know of theirs as well. And then sometimes the organizers will give you a real detailed outline of what they're expecting, or what they'd like to hear. And that's a great base to start with. But I will say from experience, based on who you're going to have on your panel, that's really going to be how you design the conversation. Being a panelist is easy. So if you ever get an opportunity, 100% say yes, because it's going to be great for your visibility. But being a moderator is so much harder. I will always still say yes, because you get to demonstrate a different set of skills. You may not be the expert on that topic, but you are the expert in asking the questions and shining the light on the experts. That's really your role as a moderator. Shine the light on the experts and let their knowledge and expertise come forward to inspire the audience. On the day of the panel itself, so I've talked about the preparation. On the day of the panel, the one thing I will say is the most important is to be fully present. Be there. If you can have your notes in a non-digital format, the better, because then you can be absolutely no distractions. And pay attention, have your full focus on the panelists. Put everything else aside. Notice their reaction. Notice how they're speaking, at what tone, at what pace. Is someone about to come in and share something? And when you pick up on what they're saying, repeat that and include that into the next question, or utilize things that you've said during the prep call to then bring that into the conversation as well in the day. Speaking of the prep call, I will say prep calls are always the best conversations, right? Which is also another reason why you want to moderate. So there's two things. Prep calls are always the best conversations because you're not live, you're not on stage, and you get to know individuals in a different way, right? Because I will say with one of the ones that I did recently, I didn't really know the panelists so well, so that prep call was really important. So we just drove straight in. I was like, let's get to it. Let's be efficient. But then as the conversation flowed, we both relaxed, we got to know each other, and then we found we had some other commonalities that I never would have discovered had I not been the moderator for that session. So moderating panels is why I say yes to it, because you get to know people, different people that normally would not have come into your, your circle, your sphere of influence. And from the one that I just recently, I'm incredibly grateful that I said yes to that, because you just get to know people at a different level, and you get to know about the industry from a different perspective. Which brings me to the next question. Do you need to be an expert on the topic to be a good moderator? I would say no, but it does help to have some context. So in this case, the context is being part of the wider hospitality, travel, real estate industry, right? A panel that I did recently, the topic was around F&B, right? Culinary excellence and how does it drive profits for the asset. I've done F&B in my career. I've worked the floors. I've worked in kitchen. I get it. I understand how it functions within a hotel. But is that what I'm an expert in today? Absolutely not. But I had enough context to ask the right questions to allow the panelists share their expertise, because they were the experts, right? So my role was to make sure that I had the right questions to ask them to demonstrate their knowledge based on the topic that we had in hand. So again, my role here, shine the light on the experts. And moderating can come in use in so many other aspects of our life. It is an important skill set to have in our communication toolkit. You may need to use it in various different instances, depending on what is happening. Sometimes your role is to be the listener and ask questions. And sometimes your role is to be the expert. And it's important to know how and when to use it. I'm Noreen, community builder, gender balance champion, and communications advocate. I'm here to help you harness the talent of your voice.